Gazans. As you said in your article recent in Counterpunch, that the Gazans at the end of the war came out celebrating like they are in a wedding. And that does not show that a nation has been defeated or a nation has been subdued in a way or another. So where this lead us to? I mean, there was defiance from the north, defiance from the south. We know that the Israelis have moved a lot of their airports, the military airports, down to the south, and now they are facing a threat, a bigger threat maybe from Sinai and Gaza than it used to be before they moved their weaponry there. So where does that take us to? The new environment, the new status quo in the region.
The new status quo in the region is that Israel is losing its military option. It doesn't quite know how it can control the region anymore, basically because at the end of the day, it's impossible to win any of these wars, even against little Gaza. It's impossible to win them without a ground invasion. And Israel's a Western country. People want to go to cafes, they want to go traveling, they want to go clubbing. I mean, that's what teenagers are about. They don't want to get killed. And the Israeli leadership knows if you start taking heavy casualties, combatant casualties, you're going to have a backlash in the domestic population, especially if you can't win. And that's what they're facing now. You have to remember, in Operation Cast Lead, they did a ground invasion. They did do a ground invasion. They only lost 10 combatants, and of those 10 combatants, 4 of them, nearly half, were friendly fire. So they were able to do a ground invasion the first time in 2008-9, the first time with only 6 combatant losses. What was different this time? Well, all you had to do is read the battle orders for Operation Cast Lead 1. The battle orders were you go in, no questions asked, you blast everything around you. You don't wait, you don't look, you just blast away, so you have basically a level playing field as you're going in. Israel knew it couldn't do that this time because there are too many. What? No, it has nothing to do with morality. There are too many cameras. Plus, they were afraid that this time the post-invasion documentation, as it were, the mega Goldstone, would be used to indict them for war crimes. And so they couldn't do the ground invasion. Oh, I should add one other thing. It was clear Turkey and Egypt said, we're going to turn a blind eye, but our red line is a ground invasion. And they communicated that clearly to President Obama, that our red line is a ground invasion. And Obama, at the time, it was clearly reported, he told the Israelis, don't go on a ground invasion. Now they're denying it. If you read the Israeli reports, they're saying that, oh, Obama never told us that. Oh, yes, he did. So that was another constraint on them. So both for domestic political purposes, because of the political pressures being put on them, because of the Goldstone report, another Goldstone report.
They have allowed only just destruction of the weapons.
Oh yeah, well he allowed what happened, which was acceptable by international standards. Israel could claim legitimate military sites. It could. And it could say now the figure is up to about 170 people killed. Of those 170, depending on the statistics you use, but the ones I think are reliable, put the number of civilians killed at about 70. So you can call that collateral damage. I don't want to trivialize it. I could be collateral damage, and I like life. But from the point of view of international legitimacy and justice, that was acceptable. So Obama, and by the way, not just Obama, but all the Europeans accepted it. Because technically, they weren't doing what they did in Operation Cast Lead 1. It wasn't targeting civilian structures, which is an interesting point that nobody has brought up. You might recall when they went into Gaza the first time, they targeted all these hospitals and they targeted all these mosques. And their claim was what? That Hamas was firing from these hospitals, had weapons stashed in the mosques. They made all those claims. This time, they didn't target any hospitals. They damaged 3 mosques seriously, but that seems to have been collateral damage. What changed? Now, don't tell me Hamas changed from 2008. What changed was they knew this time they couldn't target the hospitals and mosques. There was never any weapons in there. There were never any Hamas militants in there, because if there weren't any this time, then it stands to reason there weren't any last time. Hamas didn't, the leopard doesn't change its spots. It's the same organization, because there never was. In 2008, they were targeting civilian infrastructure and the civilian population. This time they couldn't. And what turned out at the end of the day was it failed. That was not sufficient. Just that kind of military operation was not sufficient to terrorize the population, and it was not sufficient to inflict a defeat.